Good day, good day. This is Canyouth Exploration, and you're listening to Canyouth White. Canyouth Exploration is your topic in a podcast. We'll be having a very interesting program, a very interesting show this evening. We'll be talking to two mothers. They're both Jamaicans. One living here in the United States, and the other one is in St. Thomas, Jamaica. And they'll be talking about the whole challenges and benefits and the other issues as it relates to homeschooling their children. Hey, this is something you need to listen to, right? Because this pandemic brought on us the concept of homeschooling. Our homes, most of us have been shifted to the class. Well, it had become classrooms, right? And mothers in particular are always there. Where are the fathers? Fathers, you tell me. I mean, Canyouth Exploration explore homeschooling during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I'll be having two guests, as I had said, Kadeen Mouchette and Nicole Edwards. Nicole is in the United States. Kadeen is down there in Jamaica, and they will be telling you about their experience. Okay, let us welcome them. Nicole.
Yes, can you hear me?
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Can you hear me? No? Can you hear me?
I think we're having a bit of technical challenges here in Nicole. Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm good.
You are? Cool,
okay.
Cool. Welcome to Canyouth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. And let me welcome Kadeen Mouchette out of St. Thomas. Down there in Jamaica. Is it raining there in St. Thomas?
Not today. We have sunshine today. Yesterday it was a little rainy in the morning.
Cool. I know that Portland is a green place, and St. Thomas is close by. So St. Thomas should have gotten some of those greenery, right?
Yes, we have. We have it here. Yes, we do.
I know you're supporting your parish. That's all right. So we have Kadeen and Nicole going to be talking to us about the whole concept of homeschooling in Jamaica and in the United States. Nicole, as I had said, is a Jamaican who lives in the United States. So we'll be getting two different perspectives of the challenges, the benefits, and the other issues that surrounds homeschooling. Let's start with you, Kadeen. Tell us about your child. A little about your child.
So I have a son, and he's 8 years old. He's at the primary school level, and he's in grade 2. I guess for him, it's a little bit challenging with the homeschooling. I think he misses the environment, not so much of the learning concept that occurs in the school environment, but more so the social interactions that he would have had with his classmates. Okay. I think he misses that the most.
Yeah, that is going to be a challenge. Nikki, tell us about your child.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Let me apologize to your audience because they're not seeing my face like how they're seeing Kadeen's.
Okay.
All right, so my son is in high school and he's an honor roll student, which means he takes responsibility for his own learning. He doesn't rely on the teachers. So when it came around to this point where he had to be homeschooled, it wasn't a task for me. It wasn't anything challenging. The only thing, like I will share with Kadeen, he missed his friends. But I think after 2 to 3 weeks, he got over it. And they found ways to meet each other. We have a library.
Oh, yeah.
Department, and they found ways to meet each other, stay social distance. But the thing with my son, in the first 2 weeks, I had to call a counselor because he started to feel, he was saying that depressed. you were saying that he was getting a bit depressed because not just because he's not going to school.
Yeah.
It's
And
because he was,
Nikki, that's something we are going to be looking at because
right.
it's on the lineup, the whole impact, the mental health impact and the
Okay.
performance impact. Thank you for that. But let's look at the policies in Jamaica and the US. Is there any known policy as it relates to homeschooling back in Jamaica?
Well, in 2020, when the pandemic started, it is known that they were reviewing the homeschool policy that exists to cater to the current situation and to make provisions for persons who would have been accessing learning through school institutions. Um, there's not much out there on the internet per se as it relates to homeschooling, but basically the policy still remains.
Okay.
There are just some adjustments now to cater to students who were in the schooling institutions. And with that comes other additions, such as the grooming policies for school. It is now added to the homeschool thing. So for my son, each morning he has to get dressed in his uniform. He has to go online at the same time that school would normally commence.
Okay.
And he is expected to participate in tests online, just like when he's in school, and he will do his assignments and stuff like that. And we will have to use either there's a drop-off point that we leave these assignments and homeworks, or we take the pictures and send it to the teachers. And sometimes they will even upload things online that you complete the documents through Google Docs and other apps that is out there, and you submit it through those same medium. So what the ministry do now, the ministry creates accounts for schools with teachers. So each teacher has a class account, and in that classroom, the teacher will place materials for the child learning. So as a parent now, you have to go into the classroom with your child to ensure that they go through these things and not only just go through them, but understand these concepts that are placed there. The ministry do upload their test through this medium as well, and the child complete it through this classroom medium, the Google Classroom.
Okay.
Right, and do the submissions through it as well.
Okay, you heard her, Nikki. What do you know about the policy here in the United States? And do you have anything to say about the Jamaican policy, knowing that you're a Jamaican as well?
It's very similar. What Cadian or Cadine? Is it Cadian or Cadine? Cadine.
Cadine.
Yeah, very similar to Cadine. They have the Google Classroom, but the thing with the policy here, we have the option of hybrid learning, which they can turn up once per week for school. So that's the only thing I don't hear Cadine mentioning. That's
well, at some point that was going on to Nikki at some point. So persons who were doing CXCs and the persons who were doing the primary school PEP, that's the word, PEP, the test that they do to leave to secondary institutions, those persons were going to school at one point. But since the increase in cases at this current time, as we speak now, all those interactions have been closed. At one point, private institutions were allowed to carry out their schooling via whatever means, either homeschool or the children come into the institution. But for now, straight across the board, straight homeschooling.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. So Nikki, how is it here in the United States? What type of policy that you know about as it relates to homeschooling your child?
Okay. So as you know, the kindergarten, K1 to K12, they are actually, most states, they are actually back in school. It's not like the middle school and high school, which might have the option of not going back to school right now full time. But you know that the kindergarten, and I know friends who have their children in school right now in the kindergarten level. Yeah, but basically it's similar as Cadians in Jamaica. And I'm glad to hear this because I was thinking probably there's a bit more difference, but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. You're in New Jersey, right, Nikki?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, fine. Right. So you say the policies are basically the same, because
Yeah.
perhaps they want to have the same objective. But one of the things that would like to find out, the challenges that you as mothers, I tell you, we're the fathers. I don't know. It's always mothers getting involved with this homeschooling thing. So
I guess it's because of our role as a female, the caregivers. So it is
no, we
always
need to
left
get the
on the
fathers
mothers.
involved. All right. Yeah. I understand.
So for me,
Mhm.
my family structure is a little bit different from the norm. So my son and myself, we're living now with his aunt and uncle because the COVID has caused so much changes to routine. It is very difficult, to
Yeah.
balance the time. Right. So my son and his cousin, they would go online in the mornings, and then by the time they sign on, the internet connection, gets
Yeah.
so poor. So they miss the class for the day. And not only are the students or us as parents facing this challenge, teachers too, because some days teachers will reach out to you and let you know that we won't be meeting in the classroom today. Work will be coming by different means because I don't have connection to the internet. But as a student myself and a
Yeah.
full-time essential worker,
Yeah.
balancing the time with homeschooling, it
Yeah.
is very, very challenging, sir, because you get to realize that my weekends now have to be, dissect to
Oh yeah.
take into consideration my son's
Right.
education, myself, and during the week, you have to be doing the same thing. And during the week, it is even harder because I now have to incorporate my responsibilities at work, what is expected, the curfew that is in place, how do
Yeah.
I get from point A to point B, and all of these things. So,
Yeah.
but most persons around my area or most persons that I interact with, you would have heard from the interviews that I did with other parents and sent to you that
Mhm.
most of us are experiencing the similar challenges, which is probably the internet and sometimes the material that the children are being exposed to. Even the children do complaints at times because my son says sometimes, Mommy, we not get so much work when we go to school. So why am I getting so much work now? But the struggles do exist, but we
Right.
have to fight as parents with the best interests for our child at the end of the day and to find ways to cushion. So, like myself, I will have discussion with other parents. Like I said, I am
Yeah.
so blessed at this time to have this support system around me.
Yeah.
Others are not this fortunate, and I really do appreciate my support system.
Right.
So
That's it.
sometimes myself and his aunt would sit down and said, how are we going to, deal with this?
Yeah.
How are we going to ensure that they don't lose track or lose interest
Right.
in learning since they are in their home space? And generally, at home, you don't pay so much or put in so much time
Right.
into learning. Just a little schoolwork and your study would have been your normal
Yeah.
home environment when it comes to school.
Yeah.
But
But
now you
it's interesting that you say that though, especially as it relates to the challenges with the internet. You're listening to Canyouth Exploration. I'm Canyouth White. I'm sitting in with Nicole Edwards and Kadeen Mushette. Kadeen is in Jamaica. Nicole is a Jamaican here in the United States. we're looking at the challenges of homeschooling since the pandemic. And you actually mentioned, Kadeen, the interview that you had done with me and some other friends from Jamaica. Listeners, you can look for that on YouTube. It's called Schooling Homes, right? It's a documentary, and you'll learn more. But yes, Kadeen, before I go to Nikki, you mentioned the challenge as it relates to the internet, right? It was mentioned before, right? How is that going,
Yes.
especially in the rural Jamaica?
Well, in rural Jamaica, even urban Jamaica, because
Okay.
I would have had conversation with persons through my work system, and we are basically having the same challenges.
Right.
The connectivity, I am not sure if it's because they have to be catering to so many persons at this time why it is like this, but the connectivity is very poor at times in the
Right.
rural areas, especially when the rain falls. And another thing for rural citizens is that most persons still don't have access to internet at their home, so they rely on their data services, which can be very expensive. And
Yeah.
so some days students are not in school because parents can't afford to get the equipment or the necessary put the necessary preparations in place.
Right. Nikki, you heard her, right? What the challenges that you're facing here, mothers are facing here in the United States in comparison to Jamaica?
All right, let's talk about the internet first.
Right.
I can almost say there's no challenge here
Yeah.
because as I'm as a Comcast customer, you have
Right.
choices. You have what they call the internet blast. You have the normal, and even if you're on the normal connection, you're not having any problems. When you're on
Right.
the blast, I mean things are just speeding through like that. So I
Right.
cannot say we have problems with the internet, even in areas where you might find parents who can't afford internet access and such.
Right.
The government of the state will subsidize. So I
Yeah.
can't say there's a genuine problem there when it comes to the internet, especially with the pandemic and students have to be home learning. It's
Mhm.
not a genuine problem here. So
Okay.
I hope in due time Jamaica will get that fixed and sorted out. But
I saw that smile
where I'm
from
concerned,
Katie.
that's not a
We're moving there. But sir, when you approached me the other day about this
Right.
topic,
Yeah.
I went and I did some reading because you know my style already.
Yeah, I know,
And what
right?
I found in the
Let me say this. Katie, I taught her at UCC, right? She was one of my best students. So when she said that, I know she will go and do her research, right?
yes, and you know what I found very interesting, sir, is that most persons that are actually now participating in online school are primary school students.
Right.
Studies are showing that that and I was thinking from my own personal perception that probably secondary, you know, that year when you know your next step is into adulthood, so you need those things that are necessary to help you
Mhm.
function in society. These students are not participating as much as the primary school level.
Oh, yeah.
So, so you know, as a mother of a primary school student and an aunt of primary school student, I feel real good this afternoon to know that my child's age group is performing and participating in online learning that
Yeah.
much to that extent.
You know, ladies, what one of my challenge though, you remember those PE thing that they would do in the physical school?
Yes,
How
sir.
PE?
Physical education.
Listen to me. All right. So here is where I
Yeah,
can chime in. My
yeah,
son is actually doing PE this term. And
right.
he has to do all the exercises that the teacher, he will upload exercise from YouTube, and I sit there and watch him do all those exercises, and he
Yeah,
has to participate because there's a participation score that is
Right.
given. So PE is not a challenge. And one thing I admire about here, I'm not boasting, okay, KD?
All right, that's all right.
No, I totally
One thing I
understand.
admire here, guess what? In PE, driving, they're learning to drive, not the physical driving, but they're actually learning stuff about driving already. And he went and did a test already to get his blue card. I guess Canyouth know what I'm talking
I
about.
know what you're talking. It's up near Florida as well. Yeah.
Right. So he got his blue card already. So I'm like impressed with that kind of thing, because it's not just about exercise and such. They try to incorporate other stuff that will interest them. So yeah. One thing though I must address with the men.
Yeah.
Kadeen was saying something about why women are more nurturers and
Please
such.
address that, Nikki.
Yeah, the thing is here,
Yeah.
they it came on CNN that a lot of women have chosen to stay home as a result of the pandemic. A lot of women have left the workforce, and they're trying to fix that. They see it as a problem here, and they're trying to fix it. Right? Unlike other nations might not see it as a problem. They will say, okay, once the father will go home and work and you stay home as a nurturer, we have no problem. No, it's a problem here when women leave the workforce. And it's not that such men think they're not nurturers. They just figure that, okay, the woman might do a better job. But guess what? That could be a cultural thing as well. Because
True.
I teach Chinese students online. And I would say 3/4 of the time, it's the fathers who are there with them, motivating them to learn and listen to the teacher and helping them to figure out, to figure out the pronunciation and such. So I think it's also a cultural thing.
Okay, yeah. Interesting though.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Look, ladies.
It would be
Go ahead,
most definitely culture most definitely have an influence right there.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because when you look at the Chinese society to us, we are on two different hemispheres. So how we relate as individual and as a family unit, and how we define our roles too, based on our sex, will be totally different. But I guess, personally, I believe we need to adopt from some of these cultures.
Right.
Not everything, but some aspects that will improve how we experience our life.
Right. That's
I
true.
agree with you. It looks like we have to have a different segment to deal with that. I mean, that's interesting. But what about the short-term benefits of homeschooling in Jamaica and the United States? Let's start with you first, Nikki. The short-term benefits
Of homeschooling your child?
Yeah.
All right, to tell you the truth, I like when my son is here because I know he's safe. And I mean, everybody should know what I mean by safe, especially in this country. I know he's safe and he's here. But my thing is, my bad habit as a Jamaican woman, once you pick me at home, you're going to call him every minute. And my son would be like, Mommy, I'm in class. He has to be muting his mic. I'm just sometimes oblivious to the fact that, oh, there he's in class. I am going, as a Jamaican woman, once my pitney is at home, I'm going to call him. TJ, go do this. TJ, come here quick. You understand? So, but I mean, the short-term benefit, I know that my child is safe here. And as a teacher, I can help him as well. He doesn't have any challenge in that area. I can make sure that he's paying attention in classes and such. But yeah, that's the only short-term benefits I see from this side.
Short-term benefits.
So for me, the short-term benefit of homeschooling is that instead of me hearing from somebody else how my child performs in completing or grasping a concept, I now have that first-hand experience. So I am now in his environment. I get to learn his learning behaviors, what are the things that he's good at, and what are some of the things that we definitely need to pay more attention to as it relates to his learning. So that is my short-term benefit. It allows me to share the learning space with my child, and so I don't have to get others' perception of how he performs. I get to see it firsthand for myself as a parent.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that
that's
sounds
good.
good.
Yeah.
Long-term benefits. I mean, after all of this, what do you think will happen to your child? How do you have learned, he or she have learned? You have a boy too, right, Nikki?
Yeah, man,
Oh
TJ.
yeah, but
Yeah.
how would you have learned from all of this? Couple years down the line, in high school, in college.
That's a good point. Because I was even thinking about it because I did my master's online. I had to
Right,
go face to face in the summer, and I did it online.
right,
And I'm a self-directed learner, and I
right.
find that he has taken that quality from me.
Yeah,
So I find that I not that I wouldn't want to send him out into society and have him go to university and stay on campus and such. But if for some reason he chooses to do it online, I won't have to force him, so to speak, to say this is the
right,
better way to do it. He already understands that studying online is okay. And I
right.
think this will benefit persons who, especially universities, who are reaching out to students to actually study online, learn online, do distance learning instead of having to come to the face-to-face. So I think that's a long-term benefit. I can actually have my son doing his thing online.
And you're lecturing, right? You're lecturing,
Yeah, I tutor UE students as well.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I do that online. So that's the long-term benefit. I really see that. And I think in time to come, long distance learning will, because of this, will
yeah.
somehow increase and become more efficient.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
I believe that. So yeah, those sort of long-term challenges we will see. But are you guys ready? When I'm saying you guys, I mean not only the children, but what about the parents? You, both of you, are you ready to go back to the classroom? Be it next year, whenever COVID said yes.
Well,
Well,
You
all
want
right,
to
go
say?
ahead, Katie.
at this point, when the pandemic is still going on,
Yeah.
the readiness level is very low
Okay.
because of the safety of my child and my family,
Yeah.
right? But if this pandemic should pass, then yes, I will be all for the classroom, going back to the classroom, because there must be some distinction in your environment. You can't be doing everything in your same space. At some point, it will cause some level of confusion and it will cause some level of burnout. And not because these are children, they do have these feelings and these situations do impact them just as though it would have impacted us as individuals.
That's true.
So for my child, he misses the social interaction. And social interaction is very important for social development of any individual,
Yeah,
right? And the school is an institution that comes after the family and the religion that prepares our child in such a developmental way for them to function in society.
Yeah.
So classroom really do have its purpose.
Okay.
I don't mind sharing the purpose of the classroom in my environment now, but I really look forward to these classrooms taking on back their roles, because not only classrooms are a learning space, but it is also a safe haven for several children out there. You understand? It is the only space that they will know certain behaviors are wrong and certain behaviors are right. It is the only space that some of them will be exposed to
I'm
certain
hearing you saying,
information.
Kadeen, why not go blended?
Exactly.
Okay.
It could work. It could work.
You need to
It
tell
could
what
work.
minister's name down there. Flavor Williams. Minister
Yes,
Flavor
sir.
Williams.
It could work. But as I said, I will support going back to the classroom once the pandemic has subsided and persons are, the health risk, the dangers that are associated with the pandemic. Once those risks are subsides, I'll support the classroom because as an institution, it's as a purpose. And no matter how I try as a family, I can never really fulfill that purpose because the institution was made for that.
Of course, I love that. Not homes and not mothers being teachers. I mean, if you know what I mean, because you have some mothers who are trained teachers, but you can't just have mothers being academic teachers, so to speak, right? Nicole.
But sir, even as a mother.
Go ahead.
I am saying, even as a mother that is trained to teach, a home environment is different from the classroom. You understand? So that will cause severe burnout for that mother to be functioning everything in that one environment. It causes a lot of strain and pressure. I heard a psychologist out here. Psychiatrist rather, Dr. Abel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his name.
Psychiatrist, he's a psychiatrist.
Yes, he's a psychiatrist. Right. And what he's saying is that because of these changes, environmental changes, daily routine, events occurring in your space now, it has been causing the rate of depression to be increasing.
I wanted to save that for mental health. Save that for mental health. Apparently, you and Nicole have this thing with mental health. So let me go to Nicole a bit about the readiness before we go into performance, then mental health. Readiness, Nicole.
I'm ready for TJ to go back to school. He's ready as well. The system, what I need to point out is the package that our President Biden has put forth, the payment package. It also includes getting schools ready for students to go back. It has to do with distances, sanitizing the place, the classrooms, getting the teachers ready with the vaccination, getting most of them vaccinated. So I would say where this side of the country where I am is basically ready, and I am ready, and Timothy is ready.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you one question. You didn't answer, Mushed. Your child is ready?
We have never really had that discussion, but I think he misses the school environment. But my child, sir, is very protective. So he doesn't want, he is very protective of himself and his family, the people him care about. So he always reminds us about our protocols to carry out during this time and stuff like that. So I don't think he's 8 years old.
Nicole.
Right, so that's a gap there now. My son is 15 going on to 16. Right, so that's a gap there now. And my son doesn't behave his age. So I mean, he's taking on this whole thing of not being in school and getting ready to go back. He's dealing well with it. So I think it's the old age thing as well. And
for my child, I know if I said to him, you have to go to school tomorrow, school reopens, he will not have a problem. But his first question will be Mommy, what about Corona?
That was your child and the other interview, the documentary, said that, hey, we have to be careful about the COVID, the pandemic. Yeah, he was really in this thing about, hey, be careful.
So,
guys, you can watch that on YouTube. It's Schooling Homes and Canyouth exploration. You can see it on YouTube on the YouTube channel Canyouth Media. Go ahead.
But like I said, he has an interest to go back to school, but he also has a concern of what is happening now. So I guess he is, fluctuating on his decision, really. But he has all his supplies, everything in place that if school should open tomorrow, they can participate.
Okay, cool. Nikki, impact on performance. Is your son performing better, worse, same? What's going on with the performance in relation to this homeschool thing, Nikki?
My son, like I told you, is a self-directed learner and he's performing. Even recently, I looked at him and I said, I don't think you're being challenged in school. And I spoke to his his computer teacher called me recently, was to tell me that he admires him very well because he's answering questions. Sometimes he's the only one answering questions and such. And I would say to him, I don't think he's been challenged. I don't know because I'm used to when he was doing face-to-face, he would come home and have lots of homework to do and he will sit down and get ready, do them, and that's it. But I find that as soon as school ends at 12:35 thereabout, and he will get whatever assignments by 2 o'clock, he's free. And I'm like, I don't feel like you're being challenged. And when I spoke to the teacher about it, he's saying, looking at the grades, they're thinking about what to do next, especially with some of the students who are failing. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm not giving my son enough rating, but I looked at him and I said, I don't know. He's as I said, he's on honor roll.
Yeah.
Recently he's always getting A's, and recently he got in honors English. I see an 85, and I'm like, no. The pass mark in this class in this house is 91. Certain privileges will be taken away.
I like that.
Because I'm the kind of parent, I'm gonna let you know that this is not how I see my son performing. She let me understand that he's not going on to what they call this thing, membeing. It prepares you for SAT, the vocabulary and thing, and that is what brought down his grade. But otherwise, he's doing very well. So when I found out the area that he's not, and it's because it's not that he's weak in it, he wasn't going online. You see this whole online thing again, you have to ensure that you're there. I didn't know about this membeing until I spoke to the teacher and she said that is where he's falling. So no, I tell him, she said they're to go on 45 minutes per day or thereabout. And I'm telling him, you're going to be on it about 2 hours because you have the time. Yeah. And this is preparing you for the SAT. So yeah.
Not everything can be taught online.
That's the only 85 I've seen him since the pandemic. And I said, it's not going to work because 91 is a pass mark in this house.
I love that. I love that. Mothers, I'll hear that. Hey, Mushat, you have to start with a pass mark at your home. What? That's a good idea.
Well, my son's performance remains the same, I guess, because of, as I said before, the support system that I have around me and my diligence as a parent. Right. So we ensure that because most of his grades are coming from assignments, the projects that are sent in. Okay. I am not home most of the days because I'm an essential worker. Yeah. So most times I have to be out. But like I said, I was blessed with a family system. So his aunt spent most of the times during the days to complete his projects. So when he got his last report and he maintained his A average, I can't take the props all for myself. I have to give most of it to his aunt because really and truly, sir, with my time, I am hardly at home. So most time is spent with his aunt in the environment. As when I come home, school finish online, I just have to run back through with him. Yeah. You understand? So, but I guess he has gotten the gist of online learning, the fact that I myself too participate in school, and he would have observed me before this, going online to classes. He would have sat down beside me several times, and stuff like that. So I guess he has grasped what is going on online, and he maintains his A average in school.
All right, cool. Well, we just have to continue to stick with them. Yeah, you saying something, Nikki?
No, I was saying that's really good, Katie, because and what I like, what you mentioned is the support you're getting, especially
Yes,
at that age
man.
and your kind of job. Yes, you're getting some parents, and I've watched television programs and watched news where mothers are burnt out because they don't have that support system.
Have
And
the support.
yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, most of the women have left the workforce as a result of this pandemic, and it's because of this very distant learning, the online learning, why this has happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Going back to you, Nikki, this mental health challenge impact. You started to talk about depression, something about depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how I'd like to look at this, ladies, is not only mental challenges as it relates to your child, but to you as a parent, especially the dominant parent dealing with this homeschooling thing. And as Mushat had said, the whole family system, extended family support, they must have been going through some challenges too, right? So Nikki, let's start with you on this depression thing that you were talking about.
All right. So when this whole thing started, and my son realized he would be able to stay at home, yes, it was a good idea and such. But when it's going into 3 weeks and such, he's like, no, I need to see my friends. And, he needs to have that one-on-one with the teacher and such. So, and what I admire is the resources that they have at the school and the state where you could call counselors. So I called the counselor and she spoke to him. And I don't know what it is about counselors and psychiatrists, but they have a way of talking to patients.
Techniques.
For some reason, he was okay after that. And she gave me other resources just in case, because she said it's normal. It's just normal. He's not used to it, so it's normal. For me as a mother, parent, this has been my life, to tell you the truth. To sit in front of a computer and do stuff, it has been my life. So to me, the only problem I would say with the pandemic is a fear of catching it, the virus.
Okay.
That's the problem with me. But I got concerned and got dejected when my son actually said to me, "Mommy, I'm depressed." Although I'm using it a bit loosely, because we all know that depressed go more than just this. It just means to say that he meant to say that he's just sad.
Just
And
tired.
yeah, he's just sad. And I mean, it's just like a curveball, the persons would put it. They didn't see this coming and just be taken out of school just like that. So that's why I used the word depressed. But after he spoke to the counselor and such, he was fine and he was all right. Yeah.
Mushat, I've been hearing some things on social media, and Nikki might have heard them too. This whole thing, maybe it's all about a parody to this thing being comical, but you hear some people making calls and these voice notes about the depression that mothers are having and cursing teachers and all sorts of things. Yeah, I mean, we hear those voice notes going around. Maybe they're not true. You understand? Because they're tired.
Well, the one I've heard, because I'm not in Jamaica, but it was a Jamaica voice note, is this little boy telling him teacher that him going back go watch TV.
I heard that too.
Yeah, he woke up the morning and probably him, I don't know if mommy was at home or the support system is not there, but he was watching TV, class started, and he was letting the teacher know that, look here, I'm not staying in this class, I'm going back to watch TV.
Yeah, the bed is just there, the TV is there, the fridge is there. So how can this be, right? Mushat, tell me, what's the mental health challenge? How is your child coping and you as well?
Well, similarly to several other families that studies would have shown, myself and my son and everybody in the household complains about boredom. We have a fear of contracting the virus if we should go out. So it is really pretty much that. And sometimes you will think of the fact that, like now, today, Sunday afternoon, we are going through a lockdown. And I was saying to my son aunt earlier, Cynthia, I was saying, even though we don't normally leave the house on a Sunday to go anywhere, because Sunday is our family day, we stay home on a Sunday. So even though we don't normally leave the house to go anywhere on a Sunday, the fact that we know that that decision has taken away from us for today make us, and a little
Yeah,
on
I
the
know that. I
edge.
understand that. Yeah, you want that,
Right.
in case you have to move. Right.
Right. So you're on the edge. So
Yeah.
we even went as far as to say we have already gone through half the day and no emergency. So let us pray that the other half of the day continues just like this.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
apart from the regular boredom that everybody has been complaining about and the fear of contracting the virus, there's
Mhm.
nothing much really of great concern within my environment at this time.
Yeah. 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 Right. And your son is not getting depressed about this homeschool thing. A lot of us are tired, Honestly, I am tired. I've been
Um,
writing books
I
about this,
wouldn't say
but I'm tired.
depressed, but sometimes he lost or loses interest. So when I see that occurring, I know that hey, it's time now for a break. So you give them a break because himself and his cousin they are both 8 year olds. So
Yeah.
when they are here and they are doing the books, we realize that it's time for a break now. So those are some of the things that parents probably need to understand that you need to know, learn how you treat a child in a learning environment. They
Mhm.
have to get break. You have to be cognizant of every little change in their behavior and now learn how to match that with their learning attitude. So you can provide them, especially my son and my niece at their tender age, you are able to provide them with the protection and the
Yeah.
security that they need to go through this phase.
Mhm.
Nikki's son needs the support as well, but he's much older. So
Right.
he may be able to express his feelings more, right? So now we have to pay more keen attention to their behaviors. But like I said, the only thing they really complain about is the boredom, you
Yeah.
know? And the fact that sometimes they don't have the access to the internet and they really wanted to participate in today's session in class because teacher would have briefed them the day before what would be taking place and it caught their interest and because of the internet they can't go. So they are a little disappointed on
Yeah.
those days.
You said something, Kadeen, about wearing uniform whilst
Yes.
online.
Right. Mhm.
How that work for your son and many of the other Jamaicans? And Nikki know as well, that here in the United States, uniform is like how I dress and perhaps how you dress. Just wear,
Right.
yeah. But to be in the
Um
party and yeah,
I think because they are so broken into the routine of going to school and waking up and putting on their uniform, it is not really a challenge for them because even when I was doing the collecting the data for you for your documentary, they
right.
wanted to wear the uniform because they will be speaking about the pandemic and how it affects their schooling. So they
Right.
wanted to wear their uniforms. So they don't really have a problem. It is always pre-prepped for them. They just get up in the morning and do their regular routine, have breakfast, get dressed, and then they make their way with their gadget to wherever place in the house that they plan to do work that day. So now the house have to change during
Yeah.
school hours to facilitate learning because wherever they feel comfortable, that's where they are going to stay. And we don't want to uproot them, to cause them to get distracted. Because you know how simple things can throw off a child's learning,
Vicky, are
right?
you coming in there? Vicky,
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea about wearing the uniform because it's the school also trying to maintain discipline and
yeah.
trying to
True.
ensure, yeah, and
Maintain
I
their
really like
identity.
and maintain identity as well. So I really like that idea. My son, well, as Canyouth said, dress like how he's dressed. They wear a polo shirt or a solid bottom, and but that hasn't been a criterion for here. Well, not at my son's school. And some of the things that I don't like is where they don't have to turn on the camera at times. But for us, yeah, I don't like that idea. But I feel in Jamaica the camera has to be
Yeah,
on.
man. Once you're in class,
Right.
camera have to be on. Teacher have to see you to ensure
Mm-hmm.
that your hair is properly groomed, uniform no crush up, you're
Okay.
well neat and ready for the classroom. Yes,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So that's a
And
difference.
nobody feel yes.
Yeah, that's a difference here because there are times they can turn certain classes, but for health class, they have to show the camera because they have to take part in certain exercises, but for other classes like history class and such, that's not necessary, and that is what I had a problem with. So thanks for raising that, Katie.
You're welcome.
I had a problem.
And I did learn a lot from you too, because I'm living here in Jamaica. But no matter how much you read,
Mm-hmm.
hearing from an individual experience, sometimes, especially in these cases, provides more understanding than reading what is out there.
Right.
So
That's
I
true.
do learn a lot, and I really appreciate Mr. White for inviting me this afternoon.
Yeah, that's what we do on Canyouth Exploration. We explore different topics. You will never know what it's could be politics, education, just spotlighting someone, something of interest. But what advice though, as we wrap up shortly, what advice would you give mothers who are struggling or perhaps not struggling, but are going through the whole process of homeschooling their children?
All right, I'll start. Like Kaden mentioned, the support system is very important. You need that support. It's not that because mother are more nurturing and caring and more and sees the importance of education. The father has to participate whenever he can. But aunts, uncles, whoever can take some time and be of support. It's really important. And I feel I even while teaching online tutoring online students at the university, there are times they will say that they are burnout at the end of the day. They can't come online and such. I said, look, you need the support. You can't do this by yourself. You have taken additional responsibility by learning online. Students used to think that online learning is supposed to be easy. I'm telling them, no, the content is the same. The only difference is that you're not meeting in a wall area, a mortarboard area. So you have to actually take responsibility for your time and learn how to balance the different areas of your life. So you need that support. So anywhere you to grasp the support, you have to grasp it. Neighbors, anywhere you can get that support.
Yeah,
That would be my advice.
yeah. Katie.
For me, I will agree with Nikki.
Yeah.
In these times, you need a support system. It doesn't really matter where it comes from, but you will need a support system at this time. So if it is not a father, friend, even the church, but you need a
True.
support system.
Yeah.
In addition to that, too, we need to reflect on how our past generation usually deal with difficult times in a family setting, so you can use back some of what we usually observe in our families growing up. When a storm come, how do our family operates? What are some of the things we usually do to keep the fear and reduce the stress and the
Okay.
concerns
Yeah.
among family members. So we could use some.
Just to chime in a little, Katie, as you mentioned that this is not the first pandemic. One
No,
person
it
told you to
isn't.
know it's not probably me
Right.
and you did young, but this is not they had the flu, what they call it, the flu influenza was a pandemic.
Influenza,
Yeah.
right?
And
But
that's a very good that's very good what you mentioned, that we can learn from what they did. While because a lot
true.
of people died from just as from corona, these influenza killed a lot of persons as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and what we could take from what it's actually, if you Google this information, you actually get how they manage, how women manage at home.
So true.
Yeah, so that's a very good one as well. So persons out there, if you think this is the first pandemic, it is not, and it won't be the last. Okay.
So true.
I like that. Perhaps not the
Sir,
next
and
100 years, right?
we should try to get educated, try to know about what is happening, know about this pandemic, know the repercussions, and the extent to which these things can affect us as a family or an individual in the family providing care or receiving care from another family member. Knowledge is the power, and knowledge is always the key. So becoming more knowledgeable, reflecting on how we usually deal with difficulties or a crisis in our families before. While not all principles can be drawn on, there must be something there that we can use, because disaster is spelled one way. Even though it is not treated one way, it is spelled one way. So there must be some level of similarities in coping
Yes.
with something else that we can apply to this situation.
I like that.
Become
I never teach her
knowledgeable.
that, guys. I never teach her that, but it shows how creative she is.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before, but I like it. Disaster.
So become knowledgeable, draw on our power and inner strength and family strength. Because sometimes because for myself, I realized what was happening to me. And I realized that I have a family support out there. It was not in my environment. So I had to make that choice and say, this is the best for me and my child. At the end of the day, it will benefit all of us. So
Yes.
I pull on my family support. Back in the days when certain disasters were going to happen, people group up in shelters. You can group up as a family now. You can, relate as a family, share more. And not because you're supposed to be social distancing, it does not mean that you can't, get the support from other persons. You just about getting the
One of my idea,
form.
you break it. My idea, why is it that mothers, I'm saying mothers because, as I said before, mothers are really the pushers in this thing, right? Why is it that mothers in a particular community, say somewhere there in St. Thomas, Kadeen, you're still with us, Kadeen?
Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah, it seems like. All right, fine. Why is it that mothers cannot form a sort of a committee? Some of these advice that you're giving, I think there need to be some unison within communities, right? Even in New Jersey, somewhere in a community where mothers come together and share best practices, because perhaps this thing is going to stay with us for another year. Who knows? Even though they are trying to open schools again.
Well, sir, for me, from my personal perspective, I believe that we have allowed more modern practices to overshadow the traditional practices, and that should not be the case. There should be a balance, because we must have something from the past that we can implement in the future, right? And in the present to carry us on, right? So there must be something. But we, as the younger generation now, we have allowed modern practices to overshadow, because I'm sure if you group up some of these same parents and you sensitize them on these little skills and strategies that they can put in place to alleviate some of the pressures that they're under, they have never thought about it.
Yeah.
And we have become so self-centered that, it is all about us and my family. So if it is not in my household, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, so yeah, it's deeper. Nikki.
Yes, I'm here. Best practices are shared among our church communities, especially my church, where my pastor is what you call a technology guru, and he's always using, and so they share a lot with us what we can do, how to get through. And as a matter of fact, yesterday he sent out a video saying that church we'll come together on April 4th. That's for Easter Sunday. But the thing is, they have to do some kind of, you have to let them know that you're going to be there, so that they can actually have you on a roster, because not everyone will be able to come in. So and it's a first come, first serve. So what I'm trying to say here, technology plays a big, major part to help us with these best practices, getting
So true.
getting it helping persons to, as a matter of fact, as we mentioned, technology, even with the vaccine itself, as because of technology, why most persons are vaccinated right now. I remember I just went on, they tell you the website to go on to, and I went on, and of course I am going to have my own thinking that, you know what, I'm going to do what they say, but I'm not sure it's going to work. And I was surprised 2 weeks after I got an email saying that I can go on now and register my mom. So I was really surprised, because I have my own notion, and well, I won't get into my own politics, but I won't get here. But I had my own notion, it wouldn't work. But it did work. And she got her first shot already, and she's getting her next shot coming Friday.
We're almost wrapping up though, but I'd like to talk, Kevin. But this one thing about vaccine, we have to get into that another time. You know, talk to people.
As Nikki mentioned, the technology, I think too, that is one of the main challenge for rural families.
Okay.
You know, because there are many informal projects out there, you know, assisting persons. There are many projects too, social service agencies too, that are assisting persons, but persons who are living in the rural areas are persons who might need the access to these informal and formal services. They don't have the medium, or they are not aware because they are not up to date. Technology, they don't have any technology, they don't have no phone, you can't reach out to them. And some of them, because I was listening to a lecturer the other day, and she said she has been doing a project with the government that they assist single-headed household, female-headed households with some assistance during this lockdown period. And while you identify several persons to benefit, only a handful can benefit, because these persons, based on where they're living, their socialization, they don't even have access to the required document for their name to be placed on the list for consideration to be given to them. So the factors influencing this COVID and services and support, sir, it is it's real. And the image right now, it's not so colorful.
You're still with what's
CPFSA? Yes, I still do work with the organization.
That children group? That children organization?
Yes.
How is it? Are they actually assisting in regard to the homeschooling? They have any?
They have been doing quite a lot. The agency has a child and family support unit. So that unit now provides both social and other supports to families. We have seen an increase in persons accessing our services because of the sensitization drive that the agency would have gone on. And even though we have, because of the COVID and the measures that are taking place, even though the face-to-face interaction is very limited, telephone calls are very rampant. Families are getting counseling support via telephone. They still do get the visits. They still receive food items from the agency if the family is in need. And if the family requires psychological intervention, we still do make referrals. And if there are other services that the family needs that we are not able to provide, we will make the reference to the relevant agency. So we play a big bridge now, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Is this an organization by itself or under the Ministry of Health? How is this?
Ministry of Youth and Education. Yes, it's the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. It's the agency
and when was this established? When was it established?
In 2004, it was established as the Child Development Agency out of the implementation of the Child Care and Protection Act. But then in 2007, the agency was merged with another arm that was developed in 2004, Office of the Children's Registry, and it is now the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. So the agency has primary responsibility for children in state care and for the investigation and addressing child abuse straight across the board, whether sexual, emotional, whatever it is.
And they're able to reach out. Sorry to cut in because I know Canyouth is going to hang us up anytime soon. They're able to reach all 14 parishes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man.
They're able to reach out to 14 parishes.
Yes, because there's a parish office in every parish.
What?
And then you have a regional head office for every region. So currently I'm employed to the regional head office that serves Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and the St. Thomas.
Very good.
Okay. So you have represented the organization well.
Yes, sir. I didn't plan for it, but you know, as I'm always prepared.
I allowed it because, I mean, an organization like that is doing so well during the
Yes,
pandemic.
sir. We must be recognized. Yes.
All right, ladies. Thanks for coming on.
And a most important point, sir, through the agency, several children would have received tablets, device, and other support to assist with homeschooling. Yeah, man. So the agency has been providing as much support as possible as they can within their resources.
Yeah, that off. All right, ladies. Thanks for coming. You have been, very good. I really appreciate it, and it was really interesting. You take care and be safe. Remember, guys, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands. We're still in a pandemic. Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. We do care. Well, we're not forcing you to take the vaccine, but personally for me, I'm pro-vaccine. So do what you need to do, right, to be safe, right, and stay with us. Thank you for listening. Join us next time when we will have something interesting for you.
Okay. Thank you, Canyouth, and thank you,
Thank you for having us as well. And I do enjoy the show.
Okay, bye-bye.